Wednesday is here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to My Wednesday Comics. I'm Rocky Ballesteros. This is my show. Welcome. So glad to see you guys all here. Mark's Music Obsession popping in at the beginning of the stream. Here we go. Mark's Music Obsession. He's ready to go. With 3 streams in a row. That's crazy. I know, isn't it crazy? Totally crazy. I don't know. We were able to pull it off. Sort of. I'd call it like 2.5 because yesterday's was a little bit of a shaky stream, half a stream, just because I had to rush out and I didn't get to finish that master study. And I was thinking about it yesterday as I was kind of running through like, should I stream again to try and finish the show, finish the page, or should I just finish it off stream? I'm thinking what I'm going to do, because there's still a good enough time. There's still good enough amount of work that I think I might do a time lapse. I've been wanting to play around with time lapse and see how that goes as like a video. So I might do that. I might time lapse the finishing up of that page. We'll see. But it's close. It's really close. Here, I'll go get the picture. I keep looking over my shoulder just because my drawing setup is over there, but this is where we're at with old Barry Windsor Smith Weapon X drawing here. We are almost done. Got this area and like 1,000 different arm hairs to ink. And I actually just read a really interesting thing. Just while I was eating lunch, I just read this really interesting. I have this book. I borrowed this book from the library called The Art of George Perez, which I can grab here. I'm just jumping into it, folks. Just jumping into the comics. The Art of George Perez. I can look through this. We could, I'll do the overhead camera in a second. We can look through this. But it's funny because inside, George Perez is one of the greats, right? And I actually knew him more for his DC work than his Marvel work. So I always thought George Perez was great, specifically with like his Infinity War stuff. But I never really jumped on the George Perez train just because I was a Marvel guy growing up and not so much DC. Anywho, I looked through this book, and one of the funny things, one of the snippets of information that I got from reading this book was there is a page. All right, let me switch this side because this is worth looking through. There is a page here. An X-Men cover that he did, which I actually didn't know it was George Perez. That's how little. So this is a classic image from X-Men 112. I always remember that image growing up, and I always assumed that it was Dave Cockrum who did this cover, because that storm actually feels quite a bit like a Dave Cockrum storm. And we talked about Dave Cockrum yesterday when I was when we were just talking about yesterday and Monday when we were talking about his book Futurians. So anyway, I always assumed this was a Dave Cockrum cover, but lo and behold, George Perez drew this cover. And I thought this little quote here was hilarious. And it was like, what? I wouldn't know that. So let me zoom in here a little closer. And you can see. Oh, wait, that is the slowest way to do the zoom in. I'm going to do it here. All right. So anyway, this quote says, on my first X-Men cover, X-Men 112, I drew some hair on Wolverine's arms. And according to John Byrne, that was the first time it was allowed. Then John took it a lot farther. Since I got away with it, that opened up the door. And John Byrne for those of you who followed his work, and I definitely followed his work when he was working on X-Men, he would draw these like super meticulous hairs on Wolverine's arm and on his chest. Like he would just draw the hairiest people. And so anyway, it's just amazing to know that George Perez was the first one to draw hairs on Wolverine, and then John Byrne kind of ran with it. And it just made me appreciate it because I'm in the middle of drawing these inking these hairs on old Logan's arm right now in that master study. Anyway, total aside. That's not what we're here to talk about necessarily, but it's a fun kind of side note. Today is my Wednesday today is Wednesday. Got to go to the comic book store. I actually hadn't been to my local comic book store in a while because I was out of town and all the holiday stuff. So yeah, it was great going back. It was great kind of getting into that routine, and it definitely is like a routine thing. And I think that's what makes comics so fun for me. One of the reasons is like, it's not like you have to wait for a long time for something new, like a movie or even a TV show. Something new is coming out every week, a work of art or a piece of art, a story that you can discover with characters and, beautiful artistry or what have you. And some you're expecting, some you're not. There might be a regular story you're following, or it might be a new story you're starting off. So it's really fun. It just gives me something to like look forward to every week. And yeah, it was great. So anyway, that was weird. Comrade Sammy's here. Comrade Sammy. 3 for 3, Comrade Sammy, as is Mark's Music Obsession. So good seeing you guys here. Mark says it right here. 39 to go, then the first paid membership. Sorry, dang it. I always forget something. I was looking for my chapstick. 39 to go, then the first paid membership. That is crazy. Got a new subscriber. I think it was this morning I woke up and there was a new subscriber there, which was awesome. Thank you for number 461. 500 is in the horizon. It's so close, so reachable. And it's actually this last stretch to 500 has probably been the slowest moving stretch for me. And it makes me question, I'm like, is my content getting stale? Maybe. It's also the holidays. But I think I've also heard from other YouTube content creators. I've heard that like that first milestone to get to 500 right at the end is one of the hardest humps to get over. And then there's a couple more. I mean, there's more humps to go as you clear the 500 mark. But anyway, I also tried to but tell myself this morning, I'm not just doing all this to chase the number 500. I don't want to get into that game. I just want to keep doing stuff that is fun for me, exciting for me, enjoyable for me, to share with everybody, and to continue to get to know all you fine folks and get to know new people that come here, and also just share my love of comics and art. I think that's one of the greatest things when I had my own studio and I was mentoring younger people. One of the greatest joys that I had was not just finishing a project or getting, great feedback from a client or whatever, or winning awards or, getting nominated for an Emmy or whatever. But I mean, and those things were great, but one of my greatest joys was being able to share something that inspired me, that got me excited about art or comics or animation, and then watch somebody else's eyes like get really big and really excited. And I've said it a number of times on this stream, like when people say, oh, I bought that blah, blah, blah book because you told me to, or because I saw it on your stream, that just makes my heart just like swell really big, because that's what it's all about. That's what it is all about. So yeah, that is the core. That is the heart of what this is. When we get to 500 subscribers, it's going to be great. It'll open up a whole other dimension of what this channel can be, and we'll keep building on that. But at the at the heart of it, I just want to share this love and just expose people to the things that inspire me. So thank you guys for being a part of that. Adam, what's up, Adam?
This is Adam.
Adam says, shopping for comics online right now. What should I pick up? Wow, that is a loaded question. I I mean, you definitely are picking up Daniel Warren Johnson's The Moon is Following Us, right? That has been a great book, really consistent. I'm going to go through issue 5. I picked that up today. Issue 5 came out. Um, and Adam, I think when I'm done with this stream, I already like filmed it and filmed it on YouTube Shorts. I just have to record the description, the audio description, the monologue or whatever on it. But I finished reading Murder Falcon. I know you were telling me like, you got to read Murder Falcon. You got to read Murder Falcon. And I had borrowed it from my library. It was sitting on my shelf for the longest time. And I finally sat down and read it in one shot, actually. And it was really good. So I'm super excited. And thank you for recommending that to me. It's great. It is consistently Daniel Warren Johnson. What makes him such a great creator, and one of my favorite creators right now, is the artwork is top notch. The action is so well done and like exciting and just like metal. And the heart that he injects into his stories is so admirable. And it just makes his stories hit deep. It's like, I've seen a lot of comics in my life, and you get wowed by the like great artist and the super cool action and the, superpowers and the world shattering events, all that kind of stuff. But when the story can really touch your heart and speak to you as like a human being, that's when it sits with you. And that's why I loved like the Uncanny X-Men when I was growing up. It was like, yeah, they were mutants and they had all these cool powers and villains and blah, 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 blah. But when the things that stuck with me the most was the humanity and the story of the humanity there, and that struggle and that triumph. And Daniel Warren Johnson tries and succeeds in putting that in all of his stories. So I really enjoyed Murder Falcon, 5 for 5. And I'm going to do a YouTube short on that, but I just have to record the quick 15-second description of it. And yeah, I'll do that after this stream. So anyway, going back to your question, and maybe we'll answer this as the stream goes on. For sure, The Moon is Following Us, right? That's a great one to pick up. Yeah, I mean, we'll go through it. We'll go through some of these things, some of the books. I only picked up 3 books this week, and then I got 3 books from the last couple weeks that I didn't get to do on my Wednesday comics with you guys. So yeah, hang in there, Adam. But thank you for showing up, and good to see you. John, my Wednesday comics number 2 for the week. That's right.
What's your name? He goes, John.
We got 2 Wednesdays today. But today's the real Wednesday, and today is the real day that I went to pick up the books. So yeah, my Wednesday comics number 2. It's been cool hanging out with you guys for 3 days straight. I don't think I'm going to stream tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe I will, but I don't think I will. But yeah, it's been a full week, and I even yesterday I went. Was it yesterday? Tuesday? Yes. Part of the reason I had to go yesterday was I had to go drive my daughter somewhere. And while I was waiting for her to be done with where she was at, I went to the library, one of our libraries close by here, and I picked up some library books there. So that was fun. So it was just like, yeah, there was some great stuff there. I'm in the middle of reading 52, which I'd never read that before. There's 2 thick volumes of that. 52 is a DC story. And I'm in the middle of reading the first volume right now. I took that with me on my trip to Boston, so that was my reading material there. But that's cool. I could talk about that later, maybe. I don't know. That's a lot. Anyway, good to see you, John, again. Hopefully no interruptions. Yes, I think I should be okay, unless there's some sort of emergency that happens. But I think we're all squared away. So yeah. Rocky has no love for the chat this time, just jumped right into the comics. I can't win either way. If I pay too much attention to the chat's like, hey, where are the comics? And if I jump straight into the comics, people are like, hey, give the chat some love. So I can't win. I try my darndest, but I can't win. Chop liver, Rocky? No, not at all. I acknowledge all your existence. I'll give you another one of those, Comrade Sammy. Absolutely not. No chop liver here. Which is chop liver. I guess that's why the expression is chop liver, but chop liver sounds disgusting. I've never had liver that that I thought was good. I don't think I've ever had liver where I was like, liver. I mean, I think liver pate I'm okay with, like, on sandwiches, like liverwurst, I guess is what they call it. Devil's food, liverwurst. I've had that growing up and that was okay. But like liver and then chop liver, bleh, sounds bad. But you guys are not chop liver. Dear John's, same thing. I've never had chop liver, but the way it's talked about doesn't make me want to either. Yeah, that's right. Exactly, John. I'm right with you. I think the other imagery growing up that was like the disgusting thing. Well, actually, there's a couple things like anchovies. People always talk about, ooh, anchovies. And I actually like anchovies. I never tried it until way later I was grown up by the time. But definitely as a kid, I would avoid anchovies because I was like, everybody always talks about how horrible they are, but I really like it. They're actually good with pizza or there's a pizza place in town here that they serve a great Caesar salad, fresh Caesar salad, and they put anchovies in it, which I think anchovies are either sometimes mixed into the dressing of Caesar salad. But I really like the fresh anchovies that go with it. I really like it. But yeah, not liver. Oh, and then the other thing, I just remember this from Tom and Jerry cartoons, was castor oil. Do you guys ever remember that? There were so many cartoons where they would, like, as a punishment, make Tom, it was usually Tom, drink like a spoonful of castor oil, and it basically looked like motor oil. And that always frightened me as a child to like, what is that? Carmen Sammy says, John, me either, but I also don't want to try it. Yeah, nobody really wants to try chop liver. I wonder why. Don't get too excited for 500, Rocky. You'll pass it, then fall back, then pass it again, possibly. I've seen it happen. Yep, I'm pretty sure. And I think the bigger your channel gets, the more you'll start seeing those like larger dips of subscribers. I've been fortunate enough, at least with the size of my channel, that if there are a dip in subscribers, it's usually only like 1 or 2 at a time. And then it'll push back up relatively quickly. I've never had like people, knock on wood, I've never had people like drop off and then stay dropped off for a long time. And I think it's probably like YouTube's algorithm or their programming kind of adjusting and readjusting according to what it determines is like a bot or not a real subscriber or whatever. So I think that's kind of the fluctuation that I see, at least right now. But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of channels who lose tons of followers, and that's just the name of the game, which is a big reason I don't want to be chasing followers necessarily. I mean, I want to grow the channel. I just want it to grow naturally, but I want it to grow with people that want to, that enjoy the same things that I do and I enjoy the content I produce and are here for a reason, not just to get the number. Liver is disgusting, Mark's Music Obsession says. It tastes metallic and strong. I mean, that's what liver, it's supposed to be, it's a lot of iron. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, where's Emo? I don't know. Where is Emo? I also require the presence of my partner in crime. Sometimes, Antoine Dennison, what is up, my friend? Sometimes you share a book that you really love and the person you recommend it to looks at you like you're mentally impaired. That could happen. That also could happen. It's true. There have been artists or things. Oh, which I don't know if you guys could see the thumbnail, and I did it on purpose. This is the last book. I had to get this cover. Speaking of which, That was the last book we'll look at today, but yeah, I had to get that cover. The controversial Frank Miller variant cover on that book. Adam just sidetracked Rocky from catching up on chat by another 30 minutes. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Good seeing you, Antoine Dennison. Murder Falcon is my #1 book. Murder Falcon is great. It's really, really good. Second Wednesday of the week. That's right. That means 2 streams tomorrow. What's up, K-pop? I admire those content creators that can post every day. I mean, those are the people that are really like the professional YouTubers, you know? I mean, I could attempt it, but I think it would be overwhelming. That would be the only thing I could focus on, and that is not where my life is right now. But yeah, I mean, people that do it for a living or are able to sustain some sort of income on doing YouTubing full time, like they just cranking that stuff out every day. And you know, I'll be honest, like after every stream, I am a little bit drained. I'm kind of an introvert to begin with, and the idea of just talking and blabbing is exhausting, and always speaking is exhausting. I'm not that kind of person in real life necessarily. And then more so like putting yourself out there, like, you know, being watched and observed also drains something out of me. So at the end of the stream, I'm pretty blasted. I'm pretty quiet. And then I just have to do something like non-talky, which is usually like cooking or like hanging out with the family or watching TV or whatever. So yeah, the idea of doing that every day is like, wow, that would drain me. But who knows? I mean, maybe in the future. Good seeing you, K-pop. All right, Rocky, take tomorrow off. See you Friday. You audiences are always fickle. Just be yourself. Yes, John, that's great advice, and I will. I've made Rocky sidetrack and start ranting about chopped liver. You guys are amazing. Amazing. More subs means YouTube just caches the unsubs until a certain number is reached. Oh. All right. That's interesting. I didn't know that, but that makes a lot of sense, actually. Rocky fell for the marketing. Wolverine needs more hair on that Miller cover. Michael Bancroft. What's up, Bancroft?
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
More hair. Yeah, and maybe hair that's not shaped like really weird. I don't know. I love it. Frank Miller did this amazing. Let me see if I can find it, you guys, because this will shut up the naysayers. Let me see if I can find this. Was it on not Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. He did this incredible drawing for no, I'm not looking up Chef Frank Miller. Weird. I didn't know there was a Chef Frank Miller. Was it here? Yes. Okay. Let me share my screen. Because Frank, when I saw this, I was like, ooh, Frank. You. Let's see. Screen share. Is this right? Yeah. Is that right? No. Hang on a second. No, not primary display. Yes. That's what I want. There we go. All right. Check this out, you guys. This is, look at that drawing. So Frank Miller did this drawing for the fires in LA. And I don't know if he's going to auction it off. Oh yeah, he's making it says, I'm making a donation to the real life superheroes at Los Angeles Fire Department Foundation, Pasadena Humane Society, and World Central Kitchen. And this was his drawing like for the auction. Who knows how much that's gonna go for? But isn't that cool? Come on, that is like Frank Miller, like amazing, amazing pose. I love it. I love it. I just love seeing his like original art. That's not very big either. He's, at least when I've seen him some recent images or videos of him drawing, he's usually drawing pretty large scale these days. It seems like he doesn't draw standard format size these days. He's always kind of doing these weird shape pictures, most of them like painting size from what I've seen, like in that Frank Miller documentary that I watched in the theaters. He was drawing quite large and kind of in this like very bold, like gestural style. But look at that image. It's pretty small. I mean, it's a standard 11 by 17 comic book page size, original art size. But so cool. So cool. I love that. I love that image. So I'm like, Frank Miller, he's still got it. That dude's still got it. So it kind of makes me feel like, I know people have mentioned this before, that he's like trolling people with these variant covers he's doing, but I love them. I mean, this one arguably is a weird rendition of Wolverine, but I kind of love it. And that firefighter is awesome. Let's see. More hair like the 1970s. That's right. Hairy men were popular in the 70s. There was a lot of John Byrne Wolverine shirtless drawings that he did. Awesome one. Beef stroganoff time.
Yes! That's awesome!
I hope you mean literally beef stroganoff. Because I don't know what that would mean otherwise. I don't know figuratively what beef stroganoff time is, but awesome seeing you. Awesome one. Michael Bancroft says, my Frank Miller short is 10,000 away from crossing 500,000 views. Are you crazy? Clearly a lot of people care about his art. Wow. Congratulations, Michael Bancroft. That is insane. And for a short, oh my gosh, that's insane. You've got tons of subscribers, but I know one of the metrics for viewership, because as a YouTube creator, you have certain metrics you have to hit. So like a certain number of subscribers, a certain number of views or watch time, and then a certain number of views. And then it's different for just YouTube Shorts, because I guess they assume that YouTube Shorts get a lot more of viewers at a time. So that that bar is pretty high. And I always looked at them like 3 million. Like, how can you get 3 million views? But for one of your videos, you're almost at crossing 500,000. That's amazing. Wow, that's awesome. That's dope. When he uses heavy blacks, it works. When he just does lines, not so much. Yeah, I think you're onto something there. For sure, like this firefighter image could exist in like the Sin City universe. And he's such a graphic storyteller, like uses graphic shapes so well that like when he spots his own blacks like that, it's amazing. And you can hide a lot of anatomy. Not that he doesn't know anatomy, but you can hide a lot of details that you don't necessarily need to focus on and just focus on the big shape. Like in the case of this firefighter, like that pose cannot be any more dynamic of a firefighter rushing with his hose. And then the biggest criticism a lot of the times with his more recent artwork, like after the Sin City phase, and it was like the Dark Knight, the second Dark Knight Returns that he did. Dark Knight, oh gosh, why am I blanking on that name? Not Dark Knight Return, Dark Knight. Give me the name. Dark Knight Strikes Again. A lot of that criticism was the colors, and I agree with that. The colors were not great at all on that Dark Knight. Dark Knight Strikes Again. Here, let me get it. But I have one of my earliest YouTube videos that I did when I was doing like just flip through stuff was of this Dark Knight Strikes Again. They called it the Noir, not Batman Noir, not Noir Edition, but Batman Noir. And I love this so much because I was really turned off a lot of the coloring in Dark Knight Strikes Again. It was like all this weird like experimental computer coloring. It just didn't work. And when I found out that they did a Batman Noir, just a black and white art version of it, I was like, okay, I got to get that and see. And once I looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Like, this is great. Like, this is right off the it feels like it comes right off the heels of Sin City. And you can just see Frank Miller's just leaning heavily on this graphic simplification of his storytelling. And there are some weird panels in here, some weird renditions, but it's not as different or as like off-putting as you would think it is when you see the color version. Like, this is amazing. So exciting. Like, this is how they should have released the book. Like, forget the colors. Or they should have gotten a colorist who understood his stuff better, which is really weird because the colorist on The Dark Knight Strikes Again was, I believe it was Lynn Varley who did the coloring on Dark Knight Returns. And that coloring is amazing. So, I mean, that Batman, is he different than the Batman we know and love? Yes, but he's still really cool and like striking. It's like weird. This is very classic Frank Miller, though. Oh, I love it. He's crazy good. But a lot of people hated it. But I don't. And like I said, there's some weird stuff in the story. It was a little bit meandering for me. It wasn't as tight as Dark Knight Returns, but I love the black and white artwork. And this, I feel like he's still here. This is where he's living right now, even in the more recent stuff that he does. So yeah, check it out if you guys want. I did a complete flip through video. It's just music, background music, and me flipping through each page of this, but it's a great, great book. It's awesome. It's got some great sequences. These great designs. Pretty cool. So yeah, get out of here with your Frank Miller hate. Speaking of food, too bad it's not Pizza Live today. I think that's tomorrow. I don't know 100% if Shanth is doing one tomorrow, but more than likely he is. Having pizza tonight, boys. Nice. I had a lot of pizza when I was in the East Coast in Boston. And so I'm a little pizzaed out. And we had some good pizza. Yeah, definitely had good pizza there. Cranberry Landers is here. What's up, Cranberry?
This is a cranberry full of power.
Good to see you again. Really nice to see you and chat with you yesterday. Yesterday, where you were in the flurry of like me trying to like end the stream that I was doing yesterday because I was running out of time. You were asking about a poll and about being competitive, and I totally missed it. So, feel free to shout it out here again in the chat. And if you need a poll, we can do a poll. But I totally missed it. I just saw you were saying a couple things and I was like, oh, darn, I totally like blew over it. Cranberry Landers is out looking for work. So hi, we are hoping and praying you find work soon, Cranberry. Hit that like, peeps. Thank you, Mark, for saying that. Rocky needs 39 more subs at least. At least. John, hope you like pineapple on your pizza. I like pineapple on my pizza. I know there's a huge debate on that, but it's not that big a deal. It's just I guess it's the sweet, salty thing. I really like sweet and savory combo. I know some people don't, and then there's a little sour with the pineapple, but I like pineapple on pizza. Beef and pasta. That's the stroganoff. I guess you are literally doing stroganoff. Mr. Grant Gregory AI, a fellow Aussie, was making AR art shorts. He was getting close to 1 million views each short. YouTube shut him down because his channel grew too fast. They thought it was a bot. Huh. I've been seeing a lot of those AI trailers where people are like, I want to say, like, I want to see what was the latest one I saw. Something about like, I don't even remember. Oh, there was like a Wonder Woman AI trailer, but it was like if Wonder Woman was sexier or something. As you can imagine, people using AI art. But it's wild what people can do now, especially with moving cinema stuff. And then they're making the trailer music and they're editing it now. It's wild, really crazy. Seems like they paid per line stroke. His black and whites, speaking of Michael Bancroft, speaking of Frank Miller's, black and whites almost universally work better. Does no one know how to color him? That's a really good question. I don't know who it was. Somebody on X would do like a side-by-side comparison of what was colored, the computer coloring on some of these variant covers actually, and then what he would do. I wish I remembered who it was. But he treated it like a lot more flat color, which I think works better with this crazy style. But anytime people try and over-render something that he makes in this new or in this current simplified graphic style, it just does not work. And it just goes to show you, like, pairing up with the right colorist can make or break somebody's artwork. So yeah, I don't know why they try and do that. It's like maybe they think like, oh, it's not realistic enough for this day and age audience, so let's render it more. I can't imagine him liking it either, like some of the coloring that's been done on his stuff. So I don't know. John says hot fruit does not belong in savory dishes. Mark agrees as well. Rocky knows where it's at. You know, I understand why people don't like pineapple on pizza, but I myself like it. I think it's fine. All right, here is the first book. Adam, if you're still here paying attention, this is the first book that I got today, Batman and Robin Year One. This is issue number 4. All these books, I don't think I have. Yeah, I don't have this week's. Other than that Deadpool Wolverine with the Frank Miller variant cover, I don't have a new book. All of these are like ongoing series that I've been picking up, which, you know, it's arguably kind of cool that there are series that are keeping me around. Batman and Robin Year One, the artwork is awesome. It's Chris Samney. He's super pro, and he totally knows what he's doing in his artwork. And here's an example of somebody who handles black and white graphic artwork really well, and paired with a colorist, totally competent colorist. This is the same colorist, you guys, that is coloring Batman Gargoyle of Gotham, the Raphael Grompa series that I have been raving about all this time. Same colorist. We looked at this on Monday. But yeah, this is the same dude. And and Raphael Grompa's line work and Chris Samney's line work is very different. But he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to handle this kind of graphic style. So like, get this guy to color Frank Miller stuff. Maybe he'll do a better job. But it's like he has some subtle things he's doing with the coloring. Like here, you can even see it in this page. There's some subtle stuff he's doing with the coloring, but he's not like overly rendering it. I mean, he's even doing like some textured, somewhat painterly lighting here. But it's not distracting from the overall black and white artwork. So I think he's a great pairing. Another colorist that's really good with black and white, bold black and white art is Dave Stewart. He has done a lot of coloring for Mike Mignola, who is one of the best at graphic black and white art. And so he, with those, with those kind of line art, that kind of black and white art, you have to have some strong color theory to make that work and shine and not take away from the lighting effects, the rendering, the look and feel of the line art. You have to have some strong color theory here. So like, he's doing, and I'm still have to do I want to do a closer look video about coloring, a specific colorist, which is Jordi Belair. She's the one who's coloring that Absolute Wonder Woman book. But I want to do a closer look video in particular about colors because I think it's really important. Like, it's almost thought of as like a secondary art a little bit in comics. But as we can see with that Frank Miller image, you can make or break an image, and no matter how great of an artist is doing the black and white art. So, I mean, I love that Mateus Lopez is like doing some of these like midtones here for lighting. And I'm pretty sure this is his decision. I don't know if Chris Samney did like a grayscale version of this to show him like, hey, I want this cut here. I don't think so. So it's nice to see like these highlights really treated graphically, but they just add, give a little bit more modeling to the image. Or even here, let's zoom in a little bit here. Here, it's not. Ew. Oh, that's more in focus. He does a little bit like, this is one tone here, one kind of muted tone, but he does a little bit of lighting on that nose. So it's great. It's really great. It just adds something, just a touch of something, But you got to have some great color theory. Like, look at these cool colors here for the shadow, and then these like warm colors here for the lighting. But if you took that out and you were just looking at the black and white artwork, yeah, you could see how hard the shadow is that Chris Samney is showing, and the white of the brightness of this guy in the wheelchair being pushed out to. But like to complement that with the colors, it's great. I love just the rhythm here of the warm and the cool colors that Mateus Lopez is doing on that image. It takes a strong artist to like figure that stuff out and do it tastefully. And not ruin the artwork. So I like him a lot. It's a great color artist. Great color artist. It's awesome. Chris Samney is just really solid, super solid artist. See, like this takes a lot of restraint here. I could see another artist being like, oh, I want to like overly render and paint and make it look realistic. And I just kind of put one tone there, just some subtlety in her nose and a little bit of gradient on the hair. It's really subtle. But it keeps it feeling like true to Chris Samney's artwork. I like the still here and paying attention. Rocky knows his audience. Someone says, I missed your trip to Sean's place. I've been staying off YouTube a lot for the past 2 months. Really? Yeah, it was fun. It was a short trip. Just spent a day in Rhode Island where Sean is and visited my old alma mater and then took a side trip to meet him at his place. And it was fun. I just rewatched that stream. We streamed a little bit from his channel in his studio, and it was fun. I was just laughing the whole time I was rewatching it because Shant is just hilarious, as you can imagine. And it was fun because I was watching him he said, okay, let's stream. I was like, really? And he fired up the stream, and then he had to do all the things like make the thumbnail and make sure his mic is on and his camera set up. And it was all the things that you have to do behind the scenes to make this stuff work. But it was just awesome to see him do it and watch him kind of go through the same processes that I do and forget this. And, oh, shoot, I forgot to do this. And I got to update this. And it was just great. It was really refreshing to see. I love this. This is a cool sequence. I love this like film noir feel of it. Chris Samney's Batman is awesome. Great rendition of Batman. Like so clean and like simple. I've showed this before on stream, but in 2020, if you guys don't follow, Chris Samney has a pretty active, I don't know if he has he has a pretty active newsletter that I'm subscribed to. And every now and then, usually maybe it's once or twice a year, he will sell his original art. And I picked this up one year. This was 2020. I picked up this. I just loved that rendition of Batman. And yeah, this is the original. So you could see like his brushstrokes and stuff, but it's so clean and so simple. But it's like he does this nice like dry brush technique down here, along with like bold blacks here. It's awesome. So yeah, he does this. I think he does it in October. It's like a Battober maybe is what he does. Something like that, where he'll do an original Batman inspired drawing every day in October, I think it is. So yeah, I love his rendition of Batman. It's great. Oh. Yeah. I thought I muted my stuff. Weird. That ring. All right, give me a second. I need to hang on. I got to text somebody. Weird. That's weird. Okay. Anyway, this is awesome. I love that there is a combination of like talky talk and then also just like silent or, just letting the visual storytelling tell the story here. Like, look at this. This is great. So cool. This very unique kind of dynamic panel layout here where you see, this is a great, he's kicking off a guy here and you just follow Batman's cape around, and it's like, real quick moments in time, but happening very fast. But the way that he plotted out that sequence is your eye just totally follows the black of his cape, and you see him like flip around here, and then your eye leads down here with all these diagonals from the staircase right to the guy shooting at him. Blam! Big burst of light from the gun, and then here he's off, like running off, and the guy is in the foreground, knocked out. You don't know what happened, but he did something and knocked the guy out. So cool, really cool. That's great. Just like flew through some smoke, and then like you could feel that like spreading out of the wings, and like slows him down and to fly off the edge of the building. Very cool. Yeah, it's good. It's a good book. I believe there's going to be 12 issues of this. So this is issue 4, just came out. But it's been great. And it's been a slow burn with the story. The first issue or so, I was like, it didn't really hit me that hard. But, the artwork was great. So I was like, I'll keep up. But I feel like the story's building like faster now. So it's pretty awesome. So Batman and Robin Year 1 by Chris Samney. Mark Waid and Chris Samney. Comrade Sammy says, awesome woman, at least you're doing something good for yourself, unlike the rest of us idiots. We're doing good. We're doing good. Love that art, Michael Bancroft says. Clean art equals best art. Art in Times of J. Ryan says.
It's actually a really good sculpt.
Is it though? Clean art equals I do like some of my favorite artists are quote unquote clean artists. But there's something to the like really like overly rendered splatter. There's something to that scratches an itch for me too. Like I've mentioned this before on stream. I went through a phase where I was a huge fan of Jay Lee's like 90s artwork, and he was all about the like splatter and just attacking the page. And I think I admired it so much because I have a tendency to be a lot cleaner in my artwork. It's just the style, my natural tendencies. And so to see somebody like be unabashedly like just free and attack the page is really refreshing, and it appeals to me, and it always made me like, oh, I wish I could do that too. So like I love watching Jason Bascom Unhinged draw, like because he's in that world that like Sam Keith, I know he really likes the artist Wei Shack, and just like Bisley kind of like throw anything at the page. I love that. And so yeah, it's good. I see I love all of it. I love all the styles, but yeah, clean art. I do tend to like artists that I do tend to, but it's funny because sometimes the artwork is so simplified, can be so simplified that you just almost, it can be a little bit forgettable. And I look at like some of the artists that I love as a kid, like Todd McFarlane and Stephen Platt, and you like look at their artwork and it's just like, there's so many lines in there. Some of them don't even belong there, but there's so much line and artwork in it, and it's just so exciting. There's something about that, like, I don't know. It appeals to me too. So when I think about my own art, especially now, and the artwork that I do now, I always think, I'm like, my natural tendency would be to do something clean and graphic, but I also want to do something that makes people go, oh my gosh, there's like so many lines on that. So yeah, who knows? Who knows where I'll go with that? You gonna animate Narwhal stuff if Netflix makes this work a show, Rocky? No. From what I know, I don't know that much of Narwhal stuff. I do know that he's working with Mark Miller on a new book. I think it's called Vatican City, which is amazing. Great on him. I know that Mark Miller, I think he just discovered him just like, on social media. There was no other tie, and then asked the guy to draw a book for him, which is amazing. That's like such a success story. And I know that Narwhal, like he has incredible, his own style and his own approach, and he just cranks the stuff out, and he's a great storyteller. But he also animates himself too. I think he studied animation as well, or at least took some animation courses, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think he needs help animating his stuff. I would be cool. I'd be up for it though. I would not say no, because that would be really fun. I like these classic panel layouts too. Nice. Yes. And that's the other thing. Like I love standard panel layouts, but then you go back and you look at the image guys and their panels, which were all like breaking the panel and like splash page. There's something to it that's really, really, really fun. Mr. Monkey Boy 1969, how are you doing?
How do you say monkey in French?
Grandpa. Yeah, Grandpa's awesome. He's another one that's like, he's kind of in that like Frank Quitely Grandpa. There's another artist by the name of Ian Bertram, has this very similar like textury kind of fleshy look to the stuff. Grandpa lives in that world. Also, oh gosh, why can't I remember his name? He did a Kickstarter book. Oh shoot. Katara. Yeah, I looked at his book before. I did an unboxing video of his work too, but he lives in that like Frank White. I know he's a huge fan of Frank Whiteley, but like I feel like Grandpa lives in this world, you know. And I won't flip through this necessarily because I already did it on stream, but this kind of like super rendered, fleshy, thin line. It's awesome. It's such a cool style. But yeah, all these guys, Quitely, Grandpa. It's fun. Just comics, man. You can do anything with comics. It's amazing. Sammy, is your name Chris? What? What are we talking about? Okay, let's see. Unhinged, what's up, Jason? Been lurking, gotta go make dinner. I'm a giant Miller fan, but I can't defend the Deadpool Wolverine. To each their own. I'm gonna defend it. Doggone it. I will defend you, Frank Miller. Yeah. Check out Jason's. Jason did a... So I was in the chat in his stream last night, topicless, and he had a bunch of guests on, and I pop in every now and then to that show. Sometimes it works out with my schedule, sometimes it doesn't, but I pop in every now and then. And Jason was drawing on it, but people were saying, oh, Jason, like, you know, you should draw this, you should draw that. And I said, Jason, like his style, I was like, oh, somebody had brought up Rob Liefeld, I think, right? And I thought like, oh, Jason's style, he would draw a cool Prophet, the character Prophet that Rob Liefeld created, or Bad Rock from Youngblood. And I didn't know. And then I had to like jump off the stream. And I had no idea that suggestion, that he saw it in the chat and took it, because he drew that, I guess, that night. And I didn't go back on the stream, but he drew Prophet. So go check out, either watch the stream or check out Jason's X account, because he posted that image and he tagged me on it. So it turned out so cool. And I was right on thinking that he would draw a cool Prophet, because it was awesome. So really fun. Thanks for being here, Jason. Enjoy dinner. Have you made any deer jerky? All right, here's the second book that I was going to bring up here. The Moon is Following Us. And like I said, just when I was speaking with Adam just at the beginning of the stream, I've super enjoyed this. It has all the check boxes of a classic Daniel Warren Johnson story, which is cool characters, cool world, cool action, great art, and heart. Characters that have, like, you know, you really feel the heart in the story. Oftentimes that heart comes from like what it means to be family or pain, to go through pain, and like friendship. And that's definitely what Murder Falcon has. And Moon is Following Us is great. The premise is basically it's a family, a husband and a wife, and they have a little daughter. And there's two worlds that they are straddling. They haven't exactly explained, not yet at least, of the connection of those two worlds. But something happened to the daughter where she is dying in the quote unquote real world, and they're trying to save her. And they have to find out that there's this other fantasy sci-fi world that they're attached to, like a parallel world, and that they could try and attempt to save her. There's all these characters that from her imagination, it might be from her imagination, or it's just like the representation of her childhood things and memories are characters in this sci-fi fantasy world. And so they're helping the parents to try and save her. So it's like she has like her favorite princess doll or her favorite stuffed animal, and they're characters in this sci-fi fantasy world. Anyway, it's a really cool premise, and it's awesome. Every issue has been great so far. It's got me hooked. A lot of drama and like twists and turns to the plot. And Daniel Warren Johnson is writing and doing half of the artwork. he does the artwork for. This is a kind of a cool gimmick that they chose to do, but he does the artwork for the real world, the like natural world. And then Riley Rossmo, another artist who he got a lot of notoriety doing, I believe, Harley Quinn, working on some Harley Quinn stories. He did a Batman Shadow miniseries, which I picked up from the library and I started reading it and I didn't really like it. So Riley has been hit or miss for me as far as an artist, but paired up with Daniel Warren Johnson, he's doing great. He's doing really cool stuff. Like this is some of the best work that I've seen Riley Rossmo do. Super cool, like weirdo character designs. And the colorist is Mike Spicer, who colors. I think he's colored all of Daniel Warren Johnson's work, and he's a perfect example of somebody knowing how to work well with the line artists that he's paired up with. Like they obviously have a great relationship because they complement each other really well. So yeah, it's cool. And the awesome thing that I love, not to spoil too much of it, but the awesome thing I love about this story is the husband and the wife have a certain way of dealing with this grief of their daughter dying. And it comes out in their personalities and it comes out in their characters, their character designs and their quote unquote powers. And so it's really awesome to see that represented because that's the heart that you connect with as a reader. Like I can totally relate to this dad and how he's feeling and how he's processing it. And I can totally relate to the mom and how she's processing it. And I can kind of see like if one of my kids was dying or got sick, like deathly sick, how my wife and I would probably process it very different and how we would feel helpless the same way or differently. And so yeah, that's what they're really tapping into it. So here, this has all been Riley Rossmo's work, and then here is Daniel Warren Johnson's artwork. And surprisingly, I mean, if you had told me that they were going to jointly draw a book, I would be like, okay, that's interesting. But seeing their artwork next to each other, they really work well with each other. And Daniel Warren Johnson has posted a few videos about the making of this on his channel. And I think what they do is they literally mail the pages back and forth to each other because they're both doing it traditionally. So that's so cool. Like, I love that. I'm always drawn towards comic artists who embrace the traditional pen on paper kind of side to drawing comic art. It's like they didn't have to make it so complicated where they're mailing the artwork back and forth. They could have just done it all digitally and, just email each other. But there's something about that. Like the way he was describing it is like he was just like excited to see what was in the pages, and he would draw on them and he would mail them back. Like that's really fun. Shant and I used to do that when we should start doing that again. Actually, we used to do that when we first graduated from college, and I moved out here. He stayed on the East Coast, and we would mail each other packages. And at the time, he was working on Spring Ball, so he would mail me like his pages in progress, and I was working on some stuff, and I would mail him pages, and it would just be this cool, like you'd be so excited to get a package from your friend. These are awesome designs here. Cool stuff. Look at these fan art. That's fun. It's only 2 people submitted fan art? No kidding. That's surprising. I would think more people would do that. Adam, if you're still watching, have you read this, Space Mullet? I have not read this. This will be my next try hunt for this Space Mullet. I have to finish reading Extremity too. I haven't finished reading Extremity, even though that looks amazing. But yeah, I finished Murder Falcon. I've done Do a Powerbomb. I just recently reborrowed the Wonder Woman Dead Earth, which I'm going to reread again. And then, but that Space Mullet is one that I haven't come across to yet. There he is. Moon is Following Us, issue 5. I'm not an over rendering fan. It's used far too often by bad artists to hide terrible. Yeah, and you could say that about simple art too. I would say you could. But I hear you. I totally hear you. And I think definitely like now there's some books out there like the house style of like DC right now, even Marvel, is a certain render quality, which is a lot of rendering and realism and all. And it doesn't do something for me. Like I need something really bold and different to grab my attention. And maybe it's because they're working for the big companies and there has to be a certain style, a house style, because all the books cross over and you don't want them to be so different from each other. But I think like the image stuff was so exciting because each one of those image creators had their own style and they weren't so similar at the time. And the Dark Horse stuff, when the Dark Horse, the Legends, Dark Horse did their Legend imprint. So it was like Mike Mignola and Mike Allred and Frank Miller and Paul Chadwick. I believe Walt Simonson wasn't there. Arthur Adams. And I know I'm missing somebody in the Legend imprint. Jeff Darrow. All those styles were so different from each other. And I kind of loved it. I mean, I definitely loved it. More so than just everybody trying to draw like one certain style. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to think like Ghost Machine. That's a imprint where that's an imprint. My cats are fighting. Stop it. One of my cats is kind of a jerk. The other one's just like, eh. And the jerky cat always just attacks the like not so jerky one all the time. It's really frustrating. Ghost Machine, like Geiger, Rook Exodus, and Redcoat are the main books, and now they have like Rocket Fellas, Hyde Street. I love all those books. All those books are great. And their styles, yeah, I'd say their styles are different enough where it doesn't feel like a house style. It's like they're different enough. They're like high bar rendering, but they're different enough where they just feel unique and fresh and yeah. So that's what appeals to me. And Ghost Machine arguably is like more overly rendered, but those guys know how to draw. Man, do they know how to draw? So yeah. People who don't know good art assume cross-hatching equals detail. Yeah, sometimes. Look at Patrick Nagel. Clean, beautiful art. Patrick Nagel. Oh my gosh. I always think of Duran Duran when I think of Patrick Nagel. I can see you liking Patrick Nagel. Art and Times. I like Patrick Nagel. I can see you vibing off of Patrick Nagel. Didn't I? Were you on the stream where I was talking about the... I'm going all over the place. Where I was talking about the Pander Brothers. Pander Brothers. You know, they got some Nagel in there too. They got a cleaner style. I do love their style too. I love the style of this Grendel that they worked on. And that's got some Nagel influence in it, and it's rendered but clean, not overly rendered. Stylized. I love it. I love the stylization. Yeah, it's funny. It's such a funny thing. Comic art's such a funny thing, and it's what appeals to one person. There's such a wide gamut of what can appeal to somebody. And even me, like there's certain artists where I'm just like, oh, that's like right up my sweet spot, like what I love. And then like you put them on a certain story or a certain book and I'm like, well, you're all right. So it's not less like a blanket, like I'll love everything. There's very few artists where it's a blanket, like I'll just love anything they do. It really has to hit on not just the art, but also the storytelling and the coloring and the writing and the, all of it has to work together to make it really like get you. Word for the day, fleshy. That's a dope page. I'm sorry, K-pop. I missed which one you said was dope. I'm so behind. But thank you. Love these colors. I'm glad that you liked it. You sent each other love letters to Sean. I used to do this I did it, we would do it, we'd send, it was packages. You'd send it to each other. It was back when mailing packages was like, it was awesome. We would go and get like Kinko's and you'd photocopy several copies of stuff. So much fun. I used to do that with like one of my best friends growing up. We would make a magazine for each other. His name was Albert and mine was Rocky. And then we made this magazine together called Al Rock. It was so cool. But we used to live very close to each other and then I moved away. And so to keep in touch, instead of writing letters, we would make this magazine for each other, these Al Rock magazines. And we made quite a few, and they would have like a table of contents. They would have like puzzles. I mean, I was really young at the time. They would have all sorts of like advertisements, and we got really elaborate. And then I started doing that with my cousin, she lived far away, and we started doing the similar thing. We made a magazine that we'd send to each other. And so it's always kind of been in my DNA of like sending these like packets of things to friends, and we kind of lost that a little bit in this digital day and age. Everything's so instant and there's no physical like things that you get. That's why like crowdfunding and buying books from independent artists like Michael Bancroft's a great example of this, like just that package that you send off to people. And it's not only the book, but it's like stickers or bookmarks or like original art or just all sorts of stuff. Like that's so fun, and it can you could get carried away with it. It could be too much sometimes, but that's so unique and that's so fun, and I love it. It really like gets me excited whenever I back a book or something like that. It's like, it's not just the book that's coming. It's like a package or something special comes in the mail. So really fun. DWJ just can't miss. He's one of those guys right now. He's batting 300. It's amazing. Leaving stream in 3, 2, 1 for some Sloop John B and dinner. All right. See you later. Awesome one. Space Mullet was his first, and it shows. It's pretty rough. It has no ending really. Oh, okay. I'll have to check it out. Speaking of Jeff Darrow, know what a cool... Why do you want me to do a Jeff Darrow? Oh my gosh. You just want to see me break. That's what it is. There's no other reason than to see me break. It definitely has a look or a vibe. Yeah. Zaid Comics, what's up, Phil? How are you doing? How are you doing? Thank you for coming in. Good to see you again. Jay Nagel is a boss. Lost him much too soon. I didn't even know. I don't know anything about Nagel's history or him as a his bio. So I didn't know that he passed away. I mean, I only assumed because he was really popular in the 80s, but which was almost 50 years ago. 45 years ago was the 80s. Gosh. Holy cow. Grendel, yeah. Go figure, Mr. Monkey Boy 1969 would like Grendel. Phil knows what's up. Nagel. Comic pen pals, that's a fun idea. Let's do it. Let's start it. Comic pen pals. There was a group of artists that oh my gosh, when was this? I want to say in the 2000s. Yeah, like early 2000s. There was a group of Bay Area animators who created a sketchbook I think they called it sketch travel. That's what it was. And so what they did, so there's two artists, I think that, not two, there was a handful of artists that spearheaded it. One of them was a guy by the name of Enrico Casarosa. He worked at Pixar. A bunch of these guys worked at Pixar. Enrico Casarosa, I actually have some of his stuff. Doop-dee-doo. Perfect. Yeah. Oh. This is fun. This will be a fun little trip down memory lane. So one of the artists is named Enrico Casarosa. He's a Spanish artist. And he has a hugely influenced by Miyazaki. And I think he spent some time in Japan too. So Enrico was a super nice guy, and he was a story artist at Pixar. And then he went on to direct... Oh gosh, why am I forgetting it? The movie with the one that took place in Spain. I'm sorry, not Spanish. He's Italian. And he directed Luca. There you go. He did a short film with... he did a short film first at Pixar called La Luna. And it was like the moon, and it was like took place at the moon. And then he directed Luca, which is, it's very much him, this Italian kind of feel. So he's great, a great story artist. And he did these like amazing sketchbooks, which at the time, like I was going to Comic-Con a lot, and making your own self-published sketchbook was like the thing. And so there was a few years there where I was like rabidly grabbing these from all these artists who were doing it. Anyway, so he was one of the guys. He did this sketchbook. So they did what was called sketch crawling, and they would meet up and like as a group, like anybody could join. And as a group, you would go around like East Bay, Berkeley or Oakland, and they would draw together and just kind of like have this community of drawing together. And they called it a sketch crawl. So he would do it. And then this other artist named Ronnie Del Carmen, who also worked at Pixar. Ronnie Del Carmen was one of the greatest story artists at Pixar. You would know his work from... So he got his start working on Batman the Animated Series with Bruce Timm. He was a story artist with Batman the Animated Series. So already amazing, right? Then he worked at Pixar, and Ronnie was known for, or is known for, like his super heartfelt storytelling style. So he directed he storyboarded the sequence, if I got this right, he storyboarded the sequence in Up, that whole montage sequence where basically it went from the guy being a kid and meeting his girlfriend or the little girl, and then them growing up, and then them getting old, and then her getting sick and then dying. Like that whole like sequence of Up, that was Ronnie. Ronnie also storyboarded the sequence in Inside Out. I don't know if he was he might have been a co-director on Inside Out. I'm not sure. But he directed that sequence with Bing Bong, that whole sequence with the imaginary friend Bing Bong and them like trying to get on the rocket to like fly up, but it was too heavy. And then Bing Bong like decided to sacrifice himself. And it was, again, you're like, like that was Ronnie Del Carmen's power. So Ronnie Del Carmen and Enrico are really good friends, and they were doing this whole sketch crawl thing. Ronnie did his own independently produced sketchbook comic called Paper Biscuit. He also did some, look, Ronnie Del Carmen signature. He also did some comic book work, and if I had his books on hand, I would pull it out. I don't. He did some work for Dark Horse. He did some short stories. Oh, he did some short stories in... Wow, I am down the rabbit hole here. Hang on a second. volume 2? Volume 1? Volume 2? Yes. So I can show you guys. I have some other issues. I know Ronnie did some work for Dark Horse, like on an Aliens book. But he also, so this is Batman Black and White. This is volume 2. This is a great series of books. But he did a story near, here it is. This is Ronnie Del Carmen's work. Look how cool that is. You can feel that, like, oh yeah, I used to work on Batman the Animated Series. Like that. He's that good. So this was Ronnie Del Carmen's comic work. So phenomenal artist. So much appeal in his ladies in particular. Love it. You can tell he has that Bruce Timm feel, but also like his own thing. Man, if I did a whole like stream on like the Bruce Timm mites, the guys that all worked with Bruce Timm and his influence on them, we would be here forever. It's like Ronnie Del Carmen, there was Darwin Cook, there was Dave Bullock, there was Shane Glines. Oh my gosh, so many comic artists and artists in general influenced by Bruce Timm. So anyway, so Ronnie knows story, knows comics, and then he did this whole kind of short story comic-y thing called Paper Biscuit. He's a really, I don't know him. I've met him a couple times, but I don't know him. But he's a really deep thinker, very like philosophical thinker, and can obviously tell a story great artist. So he did this book, and Enrico did his own book, and then they did this book, which is a collaboration between, it was a gallery show between Enrico, Ronnie, and this Japanese artist named Tadahiro Usugi, who is amazing. He does like a lot of Japanese illustration work, but he also did concept work on feature films. In particular, he worked on Coraline. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Like so beautiful, like pretty. Look at that. So Tadahiro Usugi, I don't know. Enrico and Ronnie all had, look at that stuff. Man. This just brings me back. Oh, so much good art. They did this gallery show together. This is Enrico's work. And then here's Ronnie's work. So these were actual like pieces in a gallery, like artwork. Ronnie, man, he draws these like cutie cute girls. So great. Okay, so then they had this, and then this is a long explanation. They did this thing called Sketch Travel. Oh no, yeah, there was Sketch Travel and then Sketch Travel, where they had a sketchbook, and they would pass it around to different artists, and it would travel the world. And they posted on at the time as a blog saying like, oh, it's with this artist now, and they'd have these pictures of one artist who had it, handing it off to the next artist. So it was this kind of cool thing, but it was like, this is why I brought it up. Speaking of like a pen pal, comic pen pals, or like art pen pals, it like, transferred from one artist to another artist. And at the end of the day, they had this one sketchbook that had all this artwork from super famous high-end artists that were both in the animation art fields, in comic books. I think Mignola was one of them. Hang on a second, I gotta let my cat out. Yeah, and so they had this whole book, and they did a gallery show of that book once it came back, and then they actually produced a book, they made a copy that you could buy. I never bought it; it was really expensive. I kind of wish I bought it though. But anyway, long story short, sketch pen pals. All right, sorry, I am way off topic here. Let me just see. Nigel in Miami Vice set the tone for the 80s. It's crazy how much he did with his short time in the 80s. Yeah, he was for sure such an influence on that time. Mr. Monkey Boy, 1969. I'm just going to guess. That's your birth year. Sketcherang, the art comes full circle. That's cool. Sketcherang, nice. I'm for that. I like that. I'm Doug. Yes, from Up. Amazing. I love the first part of that movie, Up. I did not like the second half of that movie. Ronnie was all over the first part of that movie. Oh no, Rocky might run over the start of Bang. Oh, sorry. Shoot. Who wrote Coraline again? Sade Comics asks. I believe it was Neil Gaiman wrote that, who has been in the comics news, my goodness, all over, not for good reasons. There you go. Hopefully he'll notice in time. Yes, Neil Gaiman did Coraline, and the artist on that book, I believe, was Dave McKean. Yeah, really good art. We have pizza. Comrade Sammy says that Rocky was on Rocky's side. Yes, I mean that cat was on Rocky's side. That's right. Yeah. Pencil Pals. Trademark. Now I just need Sean to stream so I have a movie to watch with it. With a pizza. Awesome. Okay. Where am I? What are we looking at? Oh yeah, G.I.Joe. Okay, cool. G.I. Joe number 3. This has been also a fun one. And I think for me, it is the same reason why the Energon universe, which this is part of, all the Energon universe books have been, for the most part, slam dunks for me. Sometimes the art didn't hold up as much, but I love the tone and the storytelling in these books because they're kind of straddling, and G.I. Joe for sure has done a great job of this. This G.I. Joe book. Transformers as well, and Duke, those 3 in particular have straddled this line of, this is so ridiculous, and these are the kind of stories that I would want to see with my toys when I was growing up, but also making them very modern and kind of serious as well. So they've straddled that line really well. Tom Riley's art has been great. I would put him in the same category as like Chris Samney with this clean line, kind of classic style of his artwork. But it's been super cool, and his designs are great. They're really respectful of the toys and yet makes them look cool and modern. See? Cobra Commander ain't playing around on this page. Oh, that's messed up. Oof. Yeah, so this kind of stuff, I love it. It's great. It's really great. The colorist on this is Jordi Belair. Yep. And she was the colorist I was just mentioning earlier who was working on Absolute Wonder Woman as well. She's a great colorist, and she's another one who knows how to color somebody with this kind of art style, very graphic, simplified art style, and yet she adds another level of sophistication and art to complement what's happening in black and white. I don't know if you guys can see this. This is so funny. And this is the first time I'm flipping through it. She put this little cast shadow. Can you guys see that? This cast shadow underneath. You see that shadow here? There's like a slight cast shadow underneath these characters. And it feels like it's a cell, like one of those old cells on top of a background from the animated show. which I'm pretty sure is intentional. So that's kind of funny. Wow, look at these colors. So interesting, these colors. Really cool. Cool lighting, but I love the color choices. And then she adds this like painterly kind of stuff. She's great. Jordy Blair's great. I believe she worked on a book called... Oh, no, that's not her. What's that? Yeah, it's interesting with colorists these days. There's some colors that definitely embrace the like painterly side of coloring. And it could be hit or miss for me. But Jordy Blair is super tasteful with the way she does it. G.I.Joe number 3. Very cool. I don't like this color work. It's like a quarter step above flats. That's fair. Fair enough. I think. Yeah. I mean, it's preference for sure. I think that Jordy Blair, the textures she adds in it, for me, it's like, oh, I can feel the painterliness of it. But she also has very unique color choices, which I like about her work. They're not like stuff that it's not how I would color things. They're not color choices I would make. So that's why I'm like, oh, wow, that's so interesting. And I find that she's pretty tasteful with the textures that she adds in it. This was a book I mentioned I picked up in Boston. One of the few things I picked up in Boston. I thought it'd be cool to flip through it. I flipped through issue 1 prior to this. But this is Hack and Slash and Body Bags crossover. Not a super popular book. And it's hard to find because not many comic book stores that I found carry it. So it's a little bit of a hunt to locate it. I don't know who did this cover. It's not the artist. Scott Hepburn. Never heard of him. That's cool. Kind of a cool cover. Flip cover. And pretty much the reason they paired these up is they have similar archetypes with like a young girl, young deadly girl, and like a big hulking monster with knives. Jason Pearson, who's one of my all-time favorite comic book artists, created Body Bags, and so that's the appeal for me. I've never read Hack and Slash. They have an ongoing series and have come up with a bunch of volumes of this book. I've never read it, though. It's a little bit more of like a horror, murder horror kind of genre, slasher horror kind of genre, which I'm not that big on. Body Bags' story is cool because it's about like hired assassins, and it's this father-daughter relationship. It's one of Jason Pearson's, probably his pinnacle creation, his own creation. Body Bags right here. And it's a great series. And then those of you who have been with my channel for a while, you know I was heavily promoting the artist edition that Act 4 Publishing is coming out with on this particular series, Body Bags. They're releasing a artist edition, which is the larger sized 1-for-1 scans of the original artwork in all the black and white artwork in all its glory. I'm very excited for that to come out, and I think you can still order it on Kickstarter. So check it out if you are interested. But these are those characters, Panda and Clownface, and then I'm assuming this guy's Slash and the girl's Hack. I don't know. The artist is Stefano Caselli, and I can't remember what else I've seen. I'm pretty sure he's done... I think he was working on Spider-Man at one point. I could be wrong about that. But it's cool. The artwork's, it's all right. It's not bad. Kind of cool. I buy it for the characters of Panda and Clownface, and not secretly, but like, I just want to support Jason Pearson and his mom, who's in control of his estate now, since he passed away very recently. I know he was struggling with a lot of demons toward the end of his life, and he passed away. And so, yeah, he's really gone too soon. Like, I just loved his work so much. Really sad that he's not around to do it anymore. So whatever few pennies I can throw her way in memory of him, I will do it. That's cool. Artwork's not bad. Kind of morbid. It's really tapping into that like slasher kind of comic stories. Here it is, Hack and Slash. It's been out for a while, and it's kind of, they have how many omnibuses? 5 omnibuses? That's a lot of work. Man. Here we go. Hack and Slash Body Bags number 2. I wonder what 20 bloody years is. Is that referencing Hack and Slash? Don't know. All right. Couple more books here. Yeah, we said that. Cool. The Cast Shadow. Great cover. Nice. Is she colorblind, perhaps? Good question. I don't know. That would be, I don't know if you know this, but like Mike Allred, I found this out a long time ago, but I didn't know when I first was looking at his artwork. He's the artist and creator of Madman. I had no idea that he was colorblind, and I found that out. And his wife, Laura Allred, is his colorist. And yeah, I found that out. I think I found that out like talking to him at a convention. That's why his wife colors his stuff, because he himself is colorblind. So yeah, it's really fascinating that somebody could be successful as him and overcome certain obstacles. Like, it makes me think of Jason Unhinged, Jason Bascom, like with his eye condition, like, he's got a lot of obstacles, but he just loves comics, and he's still drawing. He draws more than I do, and my eyes are fine, and so I just so admire people that can do that and that love something so much that they don't even see the obstacles they have to face. But maybe she's colorblind because she does pick very unique color combinations. Might be referencing Hack and Slash, the 20 years, yeah, maybe, which is crazy to think. Is Hack and Slash 20 years? I don't even, I've never followed that series, so I wouldn't know, but that would be amazing if it's 20 years old. That's really crazy. Jeremy Burtz, what's up, dude? Good to see you. How you doing? Welcome. Just going over some comics, fun comics that picked up this week and a couple weeks. This is actually, this is not just this week. I picked up this book a few weeks ago, but I never talked about it. And Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, is a 10-issue series. It's worth going through each one as I get them, because every single issue is drawn by a different artist. So the first issue, let me just make a recap. And I love that. I love that they're doing that, because for those of you who don't know, the original Long Halloween was created by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale, and Tim Sale has passed away too soon. And they were working on this story, The Last Halloween, before he passed away. So they never finished it. And in honor of him, I guess maybe in honor of the anniversary or something of Long Halloween, they decided to release this series, but get different artists to do each issue. So the first issue is drawn by Eduardo Riso. Oh, I can show that too. If we have a little time, I'll show that. I have some Riso stuff. Eduardo, this is a Jim Lee cover, but Eduardo Riso did the first issue. He's awesome, amazing. I think he's Spanish artist. Klaus Janson did the second issue. Legendary Klaus Janson. He's a great artist in his own right, but probably most famous for inking Frank Miller stuff on Dark Knight Returns. And third issue is Mark Chiarello, who, if I'm not mistaken, is the editor or the creative director on this series. He's the one who's gathering all these people together. And so now this issue, for the fourth issue, is drawn by Cliff Chiang, who his most recent series he worked on, I believe, was Catwoman: The Lonely Place. Is that right? And Cliff Chiang has a unique kind of graphic style. Pretty successful dude in his own right. And he's worked a lot with DC stuff. I don't know if Cliff Chiang's done Marvel work. I think he's mostly a DC guy. But, maybe Mark Chiarello wasn't the creative director on it. I thought he was. Anyway, so yeah, this is Cliff Chiang's issue. Cat farted. Oh boy. My cat farted? Did he? Where's that my chair? It wasn't me. Or did your cat fart? Yikes. All I got is this. I don't have a fart noise. I just got this. Jim Lee cover rocks. Jim Lee is coming out with the Hush 2. Oh, I picked up something from Jim Lee. Wow, I got too many. I'm spider webbing, you guys. Got too many. I just picked up from the library Superman for Tomorrow, which is a Jim Lee thing. So anyway, this is Cliff Chiang. It's cool. Dave Stewart was just talking about him as a colorist. Wow, this is the colorist episode. He's the colorist on, I think, all these issues. And like I mentioned, he colors a lot for Mike Mignola. He's great colorist. There's not many Dave Stewart books that he's colored that I don't like his choices. But yeah, I mean, it's funny looking at this and looking at Batman and Robin Year One. Like, does Sam Nee and Cliff Chiang live in the similar worlds of their styles? Arguably, yes. Yes. They have this very classic, clean line style. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there. It was great colors. I love these red windows. Yeah, they probably put Cliff Chiang on this book because he did that whole Catwoman story, and since she's a big part of this particular story, they probably cast her for that. Cool. Oh no, I guess Mark Chiarello did have something to do with like pulling this project together. That's cool. Cool art process stuff for Cliff Chiang. That is cool. I remember when I first saw Tim Sale's Joker and his teeth were like 3 feet tall. I was like, that is so weird. He had like 1,000 teeth and they were super tall. But I love Tim Sale's style. It's grown on me a lot. When he was alive and when he's really popular with Long Halloween and all that, I was like, I don't know. It didn't really appeal to me, but I love his style now. That is cool. That's a cool image. It's frightening. Cliff Chiang, Batman Long Halloween, number 4 of 10. Mark's music obsession is jumping in between. Sorry, Mark. Didn't mean to make it more difficult. Okay. I might talk about the Eduardo Rizzo stuff in a second, but let's get to this last issue, modern issue, the controversial Frank Miller cover. Deadpool Wolverine #1. I'm kind of like, I heard somebody, I really like the Deadpool movies, Deadpool's character, but something about him in comics, like it doesn't hold me. Like he breaks too many rules, and it's almost like everything is kind of, and it's all for the laugh, and everything is like doesn't have much meaning in Deadpool stories. And maybe I haven't read enough Deadpool stories, but and I know that's his character. For some odd reason, it works for me in the movies, but in the comics, I'm like, so he's not always like, I'm not always like jumping at like, oh, Deadpool, he's like the coolest thing. And so, and I know they're milking the proverbial cow with all this Deadpool Wolverine just based on the success of the last Deadpool movie. So I bought this issue, not reluctantly, but just like, not expecting to hang on to it, to the series, or however long the series is. The artwork's pretty cool. This is Joshua Cassara. Yeah, it's good, solid. But yeah, like his, the stakes are never high enough for Deadpool, because it's like, whatever, it doesn't matter. Anything can happen. He can do anything. He can break all the rules. He can break the fourth wall. He can come back from anything. And then you pair him up with Wolverine, who it's kind of similar. It's like, you can't really mess with Wolverine that much. They're funny. They're a funny pairing, and I thought they worked great in the film. But we'll see. We'll see where they go with this series. I don't know if I'm going to keep up with it, but I did have to get issue 1, and because I thought the artwork was pretty good, and I had to get this variant cover. When I saw it on the shelf, I thought of the discussion that we've had and that many people have had about how much they hate Frank Miller's variant covers and what he's doing currently. So I was like, I just got to get it. Like if this was on the shelf and it wasn't with a Frank Miller cover, I might have not gotten it. That's cool. Strife. Oh, they're just pulling out all the Liefeld characters. I can't imagine how much royalties. I know that Rob Liefeld set up some crazy deal with his creations at Marvel. In particular, Deadpool and Cable. So I don't know how much that dude is making on just straight up royalties from this, but it must be insane. Worth it. Rocky, what's up, Big Boy Burgers? Wait, that's Mark, right? Yes. Mark, nice. Second channel now on iPod for Rocky. They're on Bancrofts. Awesome. Harder this way, but worth it. Nice. All right, so that is it for the haul this weekish's haul. But I will show you guys this, which got me kind of excited. I've never heard of this series, and where did I find this? I found this at that comic book store that I was in Vegas, and they had a used graphic novel section, which was extensive, and I was just flipping through it, and I saw this, and anytime I see Eduardo Rizzo's name on something, it always makes me pause, because he is awesome. He kind of is this, like, his stuff reminds me a lot of Frank Miller which is like Sin City stuff. Tim Sale, again, Tim Sale, Frank Miller, that kind of world, like really strong black and white graphic artwork. And then the fact that this book itself was just in black and white looked awesome. The artwork looks incredible. And I think Carlos Trillo is the writer. Yes, he's the writer. Argentinian writer. So I don't know anything about this series other than it looks amazing, and it takes place in this kind of future apocalyptic world, which is right up my alley. And I guess there's 4 volumes of this, and I picked up what they had in their pile was number 1 and number 4. So eventually I'll have to find 2 and 3 to finish out the series. But just look at this artwork. It's awesome. It's really awesome. But you can tell it feels like Sin City, Tim Sale, even slight Mignola feel to some of this stuff. It's just really bold, and Rizzo's stuff is really dark and gritty. But it's so well done. The story he did for the Batman Last Halloween was a great story, great artwork. And he did a long-standing series with, was it Bendis? Brian Michael Bendis? Called 100 Bullets. I never read that. It was more like a noir, like gritty noir crime drama. I like this because it has sci-fi aspect to it. And Rizzo was also the artist on that book. I did a review on that book. It was like Sergeant Rock and the Nazi zombies or something, it was a fun book, and Rizzo did the artwork on that too. Anyway, I love his black and white artwork. It's amazing. It's got great design sense, great panel layouts, great lighting. He's not afraid to do these like strong silhouettes and then like really sparse white areas too. So yeah, I don't know. And this looks like it's straight out of Sin City. This one scene looks like a Sin City layout. Yeah, I don't know anything. I haven't read this yet, and I don't know if I'm gonna wait. Well, I'll probably read the first volume and then try and get the second one and the third one before I read the fourth one. Look how bold that is. So it's cool. This is the first issue, and then this is the first volume, and this is the fourth volume. And more of the same. Yeah, this feels Sin City with this like tile walls. It's cool. There's some artists where you're like, oh, you're totally aping whatever, this other artist. But even though you can see the influence of, like, this feels like a Frank Miller design. Even though you can see the influence of it, he still has his own thing going. And he's really competent, really good at it. So it doesn't feel like just a copy. There's certain artists that are just straight up copying other artists. I will not name them on this stream. But there's some artists that I'm just like, stop aping that dude. Like, stop doing it. It's so obnoxious. That they've made an entire career just ripping off certain artists. That would be an interesting stream. I just don't want to like piss off the wrong people, but there are just some artists that are just blatantly have made their entire careers ripping off another artist. And yet, like, I feel like with Rizzo stuff, you can see the influence there, but he is just so good and still does his own thing. There you go. Eduardo Rizzo, Borderline. Mr. Monkey Boy says, looks like Pope. Like Paul Pope? Yeah, I can see that. Paul Pope is more brushy, expressive, expressionistic with his artwork. But there is a little bit of that in there. And I always feel like Paul Pope has like great motion in his work. Always feels like stuff is moving really quickly. And Rizzo's stuff is a lot cleaner and static than Pope's. First name starts with a C. Which one? I'm trying to think. First name starts with a C. Are you trying to like bait me with an artist that has made a career? The first name starts with a C. I need a little bit more. Art and Times of J. Ryan. Hilarious. Mark doing double duty. All right, let's see. Where are we at? All right, that's a pretty good stream. Pretty good. I'm trying to think, was there something else I was going to show? Oh, yeah. I can show this really quick. This is the book that I'm currently reading. I don't know if you guys have read this, 52. And the reason I picked this up, I'm like halfway through the first issue. The reason I picked this up was because of the writing. I mean, I know it was a big event in DC. I never read it. But the writing, one of the main writers is Jeff Johns, and he's one of the main founders and writers on all the Ghost Machine stuff. And I've started backtracking into his mainstream work, specifically, mostly his DC work. I don't even know if Jeff Johns has done Marvel work, but his DC work, so like Batman Earth 1, and there was another series he did. He's done a lot of stuff for DC, but I've been backtracking just because I've enjoyed his Ghost Machine stuff so much. So I've always heard about the 52, and when I saw that he was one of the main writers on it, and, you know, these guys are great too, Grant Morrison, Mark Waid, Greg Rucka, I was like, okay, cool, I'll check it out. So about halfway through. It's interesting, it's good, it's engaging, the story's good. The artwork it's nothing. I mean, it's funny. I was dissecting this as I was reading it. It's like, you know, it's competent and it's not distracting, and they have a few artists working on it. Keith Giffen's doing the breakdown, so maybe that like unifies it a little bit. He did, and they show like some of his breakdowns here, and then you can see how the artist like translated it. So this was Keith Giffen's breakdown, which is like his rough layouts, right? Panel layouts, pacing, and then this is what the artist did with it. You can, you know, it's all right, but there's something about the style that's like, it's got this faux realism to it, and I know I'm going to forget it after I read this book. It doesn't get me super excited about it, but it's enough to keep me reading the book, at least. So yeah, it was like some artists, and I'm sure these artists were just cranking it out because this stuff had to come out on a regular schedule, and there's a lot of story being told. So they just had to crank this stuff out, which is probably why they had Keith Giffen do layouts ahead of time. But yeah, it didn't get me like super excited about the artwork. Like, I would say probably the story is the stronger aspect of this than the artwork is. And I can't imagine having like a rock star artist on this story. Like, if that would have changed anything or would have done the same, you know, not sure. But yeah, we'll see. There's 2 volumes of this. This is volume 1, and there's a whole other volume 2 that I have as well that's just as thick. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Carlos Trio created and wrote, that's right. You are right. I remember that now. That's right. Cyber 6, which was a weird thing, but it looked cool, very stylized. Cranberries read New 52. He hated 90% of it. Sometimes you just got to crank it out. It's true. Like, I can criticize left and right, a certain artist or whatever, but they got it done. They got it out, and they got a month, or how I'm assuming it was a monthly book out. And, sometimes you just got to like tell the story, but it just makes me wonder if you had a different artist on this. Like, what is that? What is that sacrifice of like, oh, you want to be this like amazing artist that's like different and unique or whatever, versus somebody who can put out a monthly book? And it's hard to find somebody who can do both. Usually all the most 75 to 80% of my favorite comic book artists could not stay on a monthly book. Very rarely do you find somebody who is like incredible artist and they maintained a monthly book. Like Mark Silvestri was one of them. Jim Lee was one of them. You saw it when the image thing happened. Like, McFarlane was one of them for a certain point, but you saw it when the image thing happened, when those guys who were the top of the game in comics, they started their own label, their own creations. Like barely any of them could keep going on a regular monthly book. So yeah, what's that balance? What are you trying to achieve? They're all good questions to ask as you think about creating comics. Where do you land? Do you take a long time and like come up with one issue every 6 months? Or do you like sacrifice a little bit of quality just so you can get a monthly book out? It really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Weekly. The book was weekly? Was it weekly? Really? No kidding. He collabed with an awesome Argentine artist as well. Oh, interesting. Monthly. Yeah, I'd be scared if that was weekly. There was a point in time where Mark Silvestri was coming out with a book every 2 weeks. It was bi-monthly. Is it bi-monthly or semi-monthly? I think bi-monthly. Is that the right term? Bi-monthly. And that was crazy. And I think it was just at the height of the popularity of Uncanny X-Men. And even he might have been doing Wolverine too, the Wolverine series at the same time. I don't know. But he was just cranking it out. And you could start seeing his artwork like start getting more simplified, got a little bit more looser. And then boom, they'd have like a fill-in artist for a while because it's like he couldn't keep up with that pace. But yeah, Mark Silvestri was one of those guys who, at least when I was growing up, could come out with a regular book on a monthly basis. Like Jack Kirby at one time was working at, how many books was it? I think his record was like, I don't know if he was working at like 4 monthly books at one time or something insane like that. So there's some people who can do it, who can keep that bar high and work on monthly, but I don't know for that long. So yeah, I don't know. It's really, really crazy. If you can't get a book done on a monthly schedule, you should either not do monthly books, yeah, or have a big start. Exactly. That's why the Ghost Machine stuff blows me away, because that stuff has not faltered at all, as far as I know, as far as for the scheduling that come out, and the art bar on those books is really high. So I feel like they must have banked several months of work ahead of time before they launched to keep that monthly schedule. I have no idea how they did it. I was expecting the artwork to falter by the end of the first run of all those books, but it has kept consistently, the bar was high. And then they came out with another book and it was like, oh my gosh, and then another book, and it was like, geez Louise. So yeah, they're doing whatever they're doing over there right now has been awesome. Yeah, I'm very excited about this next wave that's coming out in 2025. Yeah, I'm going to look that up because it's worth ending on that note, giving the king the credit. How many books did Jack Kirby, hello, work on in 1 month? Oh my gosh. I mean, there's a few people are saying he would do 5 to 6 pages a day. Oh my gosh. He was doing more than, by 1964 and 1965, he was doing more than 100 issues a year. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Yeah, he could produce almost at most 4 books a month. That's insane. And I think he had anchors, so he wasn't doing all the artwork. But that's crazy. That's a speed that is not normal. Probably, I mean, I know that guy just was a hard worker, but also he didn't have as many distractions as we do now. But he was a hard worker. Had a work ethic like nobody else. 5 to 6 a day. Wow, great upload. Are you kidding me? Kitty food soon. That's right. They're reminding me. You're reminding me. Where are you? Where'd you go? Oh, hello. You want to go outside? Or are you hungry? All right, guys. That's it. That's this Wednesday. That went pretty good. Pretty smooth. Yeah. Couple of left turns, right turns here and there, but came back to it. Talked about a lot of comics today. That was fun. Yeah, that was it. That's what I got. So what I'm hoping to do for the rest of this week is let my cat out. What I'm hoping to do is I will finish the master study definitely before the end of this week. I'd love to finish it tonight. I don't think I can. But I would definitely finish it before the end of this week. And more likely than not, what I'm going to do is do a time-lapse video. Try out doing a time-lapse of the rest of that page. I will for sure post the final page for you guys to see. But I will probably just do the rest of the work as a time-lapse and just play around with how that works. I've seen people do that before, like time-lapse art, and that's always cool to see the process move by really quickly and get it done really quickly. So yeah, I will finish that up before the end of this week. And then I'm at a decision point. What's the next master study? Am I doing another master study, or am I going to throw a curveball in there and try something different? I will do some sort of other drawing thing, but I have a couple ideas in mind of trying to change it up. So we'll see. Let me stew on that a little bit, but that will probably more likely be starting sometime next week. I do love the whole voting process. So I don't want to lose that. Just thinking aloud. I don't know. We'll see. I think 2025 is a year of changing things up a little bit. Got to evolve. So we'll be doing that. And then more comics coming. I have a couple of things I ordered, which will probably be coming within the next week or so. So might have an unboxing pop up here and there. But anyway, this has been a jam-packed full week of 3 streams. 3 streams from Rocky Ballesteros for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for being here, Mr. Monkey Boy. I have it. I have it right here, Mr. Monkey Boy. Yeah. I can't let you down, man. Actually, to be honest, Mr. Monkey Boy, when I didn't see you for a few streams, there was like 2 or 3 streams I didn't see you. I was like, did I upset him that I didn't do the Steranko page? I don't want to lose him because I didn't do the Steranko page. Dang it. So yeah. Don't worry. It's on my desktop. Even if I throw in this curveball, don't worry. Boo, no emo trash. Maybe that's why this went smooth. Thanks for the stream, Rocky. Have a good rest of your week, everybody. Yes, Cranberry Langers, good luck on searching for the work for you. Something will come up soon, don't worry. Okay, Rocky, see you Friday. Thanks, Mark. A cover, Rocky. I am doing a cover. This Barry Windsor Smith is a cover. It's a cover. Do a newbie study. What's a newbie study? What is a newbie study? No rush, hugs and kisses. What's a newbie study? Let me know. Oh, tell me. Yeah. And I gotta tap into this Discord thing. Something. I was thinking about this on the ride home, and I'll end with this. I was thinking about this. I was like, what is this channel? It's similar to, like, is it like a store where people walk? Like, I walked into the comic book store today and talked a little bit with the owner, just a little bit, but I realized, like, if I was a comic book store owner, you'd want to have this conversation similar to the conversation I'm having with you guys. Not as long-winded and yappy, but you'd want to have this conversation of like, oh, did you see this? Or check this out, or blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, okay, how can you build that more into the YouTube channel? How can you build that more? It's not like a store. I don't have a physical store, but I don't know. These are all the thoughts that go in my mind. It's crazy. Cranberry Langer says a newbie study is a study of a new person to the industry. Yeah. A newbie study. I get it now. Whose art I like. I get it. Oh, okay. More polls. Oh, yeah, you didn't even mention the poll. We didn't even do a poll. More polls. I should do one stream that's all polls. Oh, man. All right, guys. I'm just rambling now. I'm straight up rambling. Have a good Wednesday. Rest of your Wednesday. I will see you probably not this week. Probably not Friday. But I hope you have a great rest of your week. Great weekend. We'll be in touch. I'll let you guys know once I finish that Master Study LP for sure. Posting a video. Oh, yeah, and I will be posting the short for Murder Falcon later today, if not tonight. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Maybe I can get 500,000 views like Bancroft. Probably not. All right, guys. Take it easy. Thanks for being here. Hit that like on your way out, and I will catch you later. Have a good day.